Hey guys, it's Grant Mitt. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hope you guys have an amazing week. So most people that seem to be reaching out with me, they're either trying to make it happen, they're on the come up, or they're really trying to figure out what to do with their life. And for me, this was always the most confusing and stressful thing, trying to figure out what my purpose is, what I'm meant to do, how to make it happen, who do I need to meet, who do I need to talk to. All these different things would always go through my head, and it was something that always stressed me out. And what I did to kind of figure this out is I started studying the best in the world. And I read their autobiographies, I listened to every interview that they did, any book that they've written, if they've written any. And what I noticed is that they did so many different things, and it seemed to kind of happen organically. Now, each one of these people were really talented at typically one thing, whether they were an unbelievable engineer, they were unbelievable at sales, they were just had this entrepreneurial spirit where they could just come up with something creative on a dime, or they're fantastic at marketing, or they're very structured and they're great at helping people. They each had one of these innate talents. And what I kind of realized is I thought, because you hear all these speeches of these billionaires and these people that made it, and it's always once they made it, right? Where they would say, do what you're passionate about. If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And I guess that's true, but I think more to that is if you do what you're good at, it'll feel like you're never working a day in your life. Because when you're truly winning and you're doing really, really good and you're succeeding and you're making such a huge impact, you're financially successful, you feel fulfilled, you feel challenged every day, that's when it's not going to feel like work. That's where it's going to feel like you're playing a game. Feel like you're playing a game of some sort. And so what I would say is find first, what are you naturally good at? If you got to work so damn hard just to be average, if you know all the skills and you're still average, maybe you're not in the right field. And so get into something that matches your innate, natural, God-given talents. Then find a business or industry that fits your mold, that you can learn and develop in. And, we have this misconception, especially from school, that you got to know everything before you take the test. And if you don't know everything about this industry or everything about this job, you're just not going to be able to make it. And it's so far from the truth. I can think back on so many things when I first got into solar. I built my company from scratch. I self-funded it. I bootstrapped it like crazy and found a way to make it happen. And, some of the things that I didn't know how to do sound so embarrassing and dumb now that if I told you, you would think I'm the dumbest person in the world. But how would I know if I never did it before? And what happens is this: when you start, you get inside the game, the bullets start flying, the punches start being thrown, you start kind of figuring it out. You start figuring out, okay, what if we did this? Or what if I talk to this person? Or what if I call this person? What if I do this instead? And as you start learning and developing, step by step, you start figuring out what works and what doesn't work. You start figuring out, okay, what do I need to do to make this thing fully successful in whatever it is? This doesn't mean it doesn't matter if it's a job, an internship, it's the industry or sector that you're in, whatever. You start figuring it out. And if you're honest with yourself and you know that, look, I'm great at this, I just need to develop more, or I need to be doing something different, what happens is, if you're honest with yourself, you go, oh, I should not be in this industry. Let's try this. Let's try that. Or let's pivot and adjust and figure out what we want to do. The mistake that people make is they wait and wait and wait, and they wait for this perfect opportunity, and they never actually get in the game, get their feet wet, and start developing. You can't get lucky eating popcorn, watching from the crowd, and telling people what they should have done right or should have done wrong or whatever the case may be. You get lucky when you're in the field, when you're in the actual game. And that's what I want to recommend for all you guys. It's look, you don't have to have it all figured out, but you need to start. Do something. You can always switch jobs. You can always switch careers. Hell, you could recreate yourself 10 times and figure it out, and no one would care. Everyone is trying their best and trying to figure out how to make it happen. And I've seen this in our own business, Mitt Group. We're in a multitude of different industries now, and sometimes it just feels like, man, is there ever not going to be a problem? We're doing millions of dollars in revenue a month, and it's still problem after problem. Fix this, fix that, and it's one thing to the next and one thing to the next. And what I learned is I had this conversation with someone who runs one of the largest dermatology and plastic surgery companies in Texas, and they do hundreds of millions in revenue. And you think and you assume, once I do this, I'm not going to be stressed. And he's sitting there paranoid, worried about, well, this is down this much, I got to fix this, and I got to do this. And what I realized, each time I talk to someone else that's also an entrepreneur, or even if they're not an entrepreneur but they're chasing success and they're trying to make it happen, is it never ends. There's always going to be another target. There's always going to be pressure and stress and something that's happening. But you got to enjoy it along the way, and you got to embrace that uncertainty and challenge that will make you into the best of the best in the world at whatever you do. And it's so fun. I can tell you from my own experiences, looking back 3, 4, 5 years from now, I always get, now on Snapchat and Instagram, they have those memories that pop up, and it shows what you were doing on this date 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 4 years ago. And it's cool to see those things, because I go, okay, that's where I was at. I remember what I was doing that day, and I remember what I was stressing about and what I was thinking about. And while I still have problems today, my problems are way bigger. I'm doing so much more incredible things, and those things that I used to stress about are like a joke to me now. And it's because I graduated to the next level. And while that never ends, your ability to handle more, accomplish more, impact more, and help more people, including your family, your employees, people you work with, the community, your church, everything, that also improves. So I want you guys to kind of just this week, take a deep breath, think bigger, expand your thinking, and ask yourself the question, what do you need to do this week to position yourself to get in a game that you can go out and figure out? And if it doesn't work, switch it up.